Before we start discussing about the business plan, here are some words we need to know. Business. It is an individual or organization that engages in commercial or industrial activities on a regular basis. Company. A legal entity formed from an association of people that engages in business. Feasibility. The state or degree of being easily or conveniently done. Employee. A person employed for wages or salary. Customer purchases the goods. Consumer end user of any goods or services. Funding act of providing resources to finance a need, program, or project. Investors a person or organization that puts money into financial plans with the expectation of achieving a profit. Appendix a section of additional matter at the end of a document. Data facts and statistics collected together for reference or analysis.
Before we begin with the parts of the business plan, let us take in mind that business plan will be an essential tool throughout the life of your business. From starting out to cashing in, it will help you to start out on the right foot. Stay focused, get financing, manage your growth, and more. We must also take in mind that not every business plan will be exactly the same, but every plan should incorporate several key elements, which we could use the parts of a business plan. So for now, I am going to be discussing the first 6 of the parts of a business plan out of 11 parts. The first part would be the title page. The title page is the title or heading of the plan and very brief description of the business. It includes the date, the name of the owner, the company name and location, a copyright or confidentiality notice. The second part would be the table of contents. It is a list of the individual sections and their page numbers, starting with the title page and ending with a section for special materials, such as references. The third would be summary or the overview. It is a brief but focused statement, a few sentences or paragraphs would do, stating why the business will be successful. This is the most important piece of a business plan because it brings everything together. The next would be the market analysis. It identifies specific knowledge about the business and its industry and the market or customers it serves. It is also an analysis that identifies and assesses the competition. The next would be the description of the company. So it is a close look at how the different components of the business fit together, such as information about the nature of the business and the factors that should make it successful, and special business skills and talents that provide the business with a competitive advantage, such as a unique ability to satisfy specific customer needs, special methods of delivering a product or service, and so on and so forth. And then the sixth would be the organization and management. The company's organizational and legal structure. So it answers if it is a sole proprietorship, a partnership, a corporation, and etc. It is also the profiles of the ownership and management team. It answers what is their background, experiences, and responsibilities.
Good morning, everyone. Let's move on to operations and management. So this describes how your business operates on a continuing basis. It covers things that are critical to operations such as business physical location, labor, facilities, equipment, and processes. And also highlights the management team such as the various responsibilities and tasks of the team. So now I'll be talking about the operations and the operation plan. So this is where you explain in detail your company's objectives, goals, procedures, and timeline. This benefits both you and your investors because you already outline how your business will run and how your product or service will be produced. Keep in mind that this section should be short and crisp, meaning you see what others need to know, what your investors need to know, without giving in too much detail. When you make your operations plan, you have to answer a few questions. First is who. Who is in charge? Who will do this task? So, in who, you answer who the personnel or departments who are in charge of completing the task. Next is the what. So it defines and describes the responsibilities of each department. So what does this department do? Questions like that. Next is where. Information on where the operations will take place. So this is where you state or you ask yourself where your employees will work and where production will take place. Some questions regarding location. Next is when. Refers to the deadlines for when tasks and goals should be completed, when they should be started. So when is the deadline for the production? When should it be done? When should it be started? Next is how much. This refers to the cost amount each department needs to fulfill their task. So how much do we need to do this task? How much do we need for this department to fulfill their operation? Questions like that. So we can divide the operations plan into three. First is the goals and objectives. So this defines your operational objective, and this gives you and your employees a clear objective and goal. So first is specific. So here we need to be clear on what we want our employees to achieve. Next is measurable. We need to be able to quantify the goal in order to track progress. So maybe we make a graph about it or a tabular form or any way we can quantify the data. Next is attainable and realistic. It's good to be ambitious to aim high, but we need to make sure that we are setting up our business or our team for failure. So we need to create a goal that everyone is motivated to complete with the resources available or the resources we have. Lastly, we have timely. So we provide a deadline so everyone has a date they are working towards. Next, we have the operational objectives. This is still part of our goals and objectives. So, what is an operational objective? This explains how you intend to complete your strategic objective. So, for example, our strategic objective is to deliver ice cream all over the Philippines. Our technology department objective is to create a mobile app or a website. We create a website on a certain date to offer a better user experience for our clients, for our buyers, investors. Next is marketing department objective. This refers to what happens in the market. So how many clients we receive, stuff like that. So for example, our objective here is to increase the website visitors by around 30% or 40% in a set deadline in different ways like advertising or setting up billboards or print ads. And lastly is the sales department operational objective. Um, this is different from marketing objective because in the sales department objective, you are focused on the sales. So for example, your plan here is to increase the delivery sales by 40% by targeting different areas of the Philippines, different cities. So the second part is the production process. So this is where you explain how you will meet your objectives and goals. Keep note of the resources you will need for your business. So first we have the suppliers. So you ask yourself, do you have a supplier to help you produce your product? Who are your suppliers? Do you have enough suppliers? Next is equipment and technology. Does each department, each section of your company, each employee or each team have the equipment, technology, and software to meet the objectives? So for example, like I said, in our technology team, we have to create a website. So do they have the software they need to create that website? So you have to take note of that in the production process. And lastly is a cost. What is the budget for each department? Do we have a budget? Is our budget enough? Aside from these three, you have to take note also of the location, work hours, and personnel. So location refers to where your employees are working or if you have enough workplaces for your employees or personnel. Next is the work hours. Uh, is there a set schedule or a flexible work schedule for the employees, for the personnel? And lastly is personnel. Who is in charge of making sure department tasks are completed? Basically, what we need here is to know who we want to hire or what we want to hire. For example, we have managers, advisors, and stuff like that. So lastly, we have the timeline. So it keeps track of operations, deadlines, and milestones that happen in your business. What do you mean by milestones? These milestones are like checkpoints, important marks in your timeline, important dates, important details in your timeline. So what are common milestones that people put in their operations plan? So first is hiring. It keeps track on when you want to hire new employees. So you don't have to like randomly hire employees. You have to know when you want to hire. For example, if a project is released, a product is released, or if your company makes revenue. Next is production milestone. Keeps track of the processes in production. So for example, you intend to make a product and there's different phases in making the product. So you have to take note of this in your timeline. For example, first is designing the product. You need to take note of that. And then when you make a prototype, you also have to take note of that, as well as the testing. And if it goes well, the product launch, where you launch the product to the market. Next is the market milestones. It keeps track of business performance as well as the future market plans. So, like what I said, it's about the market generally. So you put here like your plans on, for example, how many amount of clients or users do you want to gain by this certain time. So you put a deadline and you need to make sure that you need to reach this amount of users at a certain date. You can also put in the market milestones, you're signing partnerships, or when you run a market analysis or competitive analysis and perform a price change evaluation. All of this that involves the market and helps benefit your company or is part of your company as well or your business should be put here in market milestones. And lastly is financial milestones. So from the word financial, it is involving money or the financial performance of your business, including funding events, profit goals, and transaction goals. So to sum it all up, your operations plan gives you the chance to show investors that you know how you want your business to run. So you put in your operations plan how you want your business to run. You know who you want to hire, where you want to work, and when you want to finish projects or when you expect projects to be completed.
The management section of the business plan. The management section describes the management team, staff, resources, and how the business ownership is structured. This section shows each member of the team's skill set that contributes to the business success. The management section of the business plan is categorized to ownership structure, internal management team, external management resources, and human resources. Ownership structure. This section of the business plan outlines the legal structure of the business. It describes what type of business ownership the business have, if it is sole proprietorship, partnership, or corporation. It is important to note in this section who holds what percentage of ownership in the company. Internal management team describes the business management categories relevant to the business, such as marketing, administration, and production work. It identifies the key managers and explains what functions and experience each team member will fill. That is presented as an organizational chart or a list format in the business plan. External management resources are often overlooked, but it is the internal management team's backup that gives business credibility and additional expertise. Advisory board. They increase consumer and investor confidence, attracting talented employees by showing a commitment to company growth and bring a diversity of contributions. Recently retired executives or managers and other successful entrepreneurs or vendors would be good choices for an advisory board. Professional services. They are the external professional advisors that the business will use, such as accountants, bankers, lawyers, IT consultants, business consultants, and or business coaches. They provide a web of advice and support outside your internal management team that can be invaluable in making management decisions. Human resources. Employees the business will need at each stage and what they will cost. These are some of the factors that the business should consider for their staffing. Operates with contract workers or freelancers, full-time or part-time staff, or a mix of both. Staffing requirements including a description of the specific skills that the people working will need to have. Labor cost of employees and the number of customers each employee can serve. Salary of each employee that they will receive and the total cost of salary for all employees. And other employee benefits. It is important to note in the human resources section that to find the staff the business needs, they are going to be trained. Staff recruitment should be explained whether sufficient local labor is available and how to recruit staff, specific training the staff will go through, and ongoing training opportunities that is provided to employees. Even having a sole proprietorship business include a section on potential human resources demands to demonstrate that thought about staffing the business may require as it grows.
Moving on to the appendices of a business plan. The appendix of a business plan is usually the last section to appear in the business plan. Think of your business plan as the narrative that tells the story, while the appendix is where you put the factual information that supports it. The appendix fleshes things out with details that help corroborate and support the plan you have presented. This typically includes market research data, detailed financial projections, resumes of the top management team, blueprints or diagrams of the allocated space, legal documents, samples of marketing materials, logos and mock-up ads, and photos of your products or their prototypes. For market research data, this provides data to help solve marketing challenges that a business will most likely face. Market research is an effective tool to assist your business planning. It is about collecting information that provides an insight into your customers' thinking, buying patterns, and location. In addition, market research can also assist you to monitor market trends and keep an eye on what your competition is doing. This is categorized into two kinds of information: primary and secondary. For primary information, this is research you compile yourself or hire someone to gather for you. While secondary information, on the other hand, is a type of research that is already compiled and organized for you. Examples of secondary information includes reports and studies by government agencies, trade associations, or other businesses within your industry. Moving on to detailed financial projections. Financial projections use existing or estimated financial data to forecast your business's future income and expenses. They often include different scenarios so you can see how changes to one aspect of your finances, such as higher sales or lower operating expenses, might affect your profitability. Key elements of a financial projection are income statement, cash flow projection, and a balance sheet. The income statement shows your revenues, expenses, and profit for a particular period and is a snapshot of your business that shows whether or not your business is profitable. This includes revenue expenses, total income, income taxes, and net income. For cash flow projection, it is a breakdown of the money that is expected to come in and out of your business. This includes calculating your income and all of your expenses, which will give your business a clear idea on how much cash you'll be left with over a specific period of time. This includes cash revenues, cash disbursements, and reconciliation of cash revenues to cash disbursements. Finally, we have the balance sheet. Your balance sheet is a financial statement that summarizes your company's assets, which is what you own, your liabilities, which are what you owe, and equity, which is the money invested into the business plus profits. The balance sheet doesn't show trends, but instead shows the financial state of a company at a specific point in time. Next, we have the resumes of top management team. A resume is a formal document that a job applicant creates to itemize his or her qualifications for a position. It is a brief account of a person's education, qualifications, and previous experience. Moving on, we have the blueprints. A blueprint is a layout of the proposed establishment. This can pertain to a design plan or other technical drawings. As you can see here, we have examples of blueprints. As you can see here, these are examples of blueprints or a floor plan for a restaurant. Finally, we have the marketing materials. This includes any items used for communicating your marketing to customers. Examples of this are business cards, brochures, catalogs, digital assets, or billboards. That's the end of my topic, and I hope you learned something. Thank you.